You want to take this one? Okay.
In the car park of a police station in Kansas City, officers are preparing to arrest a small-scale drug dealer. A supposedly banal operation. However, they are dressed as if they're going to war. Bulletproof vests, helmets, and assault rifles. These heavies are part of the SWAT team, the Special Weapons and Tactics Department. In the U.S., their services are called upon with increasing frequency.
And then it's kind of exciting and a little bit anxiety. You always worry a little bit, but you just got to do what the job tells you to do.
You lost everybody, Sergeant.
After a few minutes' journey, they arrive at the drug dealer's address.
Go, 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 go.
Police search warrant! Open the door!
The team immediately covers all the exits.
Police search warrant, open the door!
No response, sir.
Police department, search warrant!
And they break the door down with a battering ram.
I left! Open it up.
Couches are still high backing in.
Keep going.
Yep.
Open it up.
Yep.
Once inside, each room is inspected methodically.
This is good here.
Okay, come on.
Yep.
But the flat is empty.
Down's clear.
Nobody's here?
Nobody's here today. Nope. But the stove was on, and the music's playing, so they probably just stepped out for a few minutes.
The raid can continue, but the police find no traces of any drugs, just a few empty sachets hidden under the bed.
That's usually what they package the crack in.
Some over there, too.
Here.
Yeah. See the corner's torn off? We'll put the crack in a little corner, twist it up, and then pull it and sell it like that, wrapped up.
Okay. I don't know if you want to.
Their investigations are quickly interrupted.
He's running. Okay.
As the officers hope, the suspect is back. He is arrested with no trouble at all. For obvious reasons. He is 66 years old and has a limp.
We're going to take you to jail, unfortunately, and you're going to go down for a 24-hour hold. For what, sir? I ain't did that. Detectives want to talk to you about the case.
This man is dangerous?
No, not now, but you never know. I mean, drug dealers are notorious for having guns and being violent. That's the reason they're drug dealers, to make money. And money sometimes makes people do bad things. So narcotics always make people do bad things.
Even a 66 years
Even a 66-year-old man's dangerous.
Really?
Or you have old ladies that kill people. You never know what's in somebody's head that makes them violent, so.
10 police officers armed to excess.
Take a deep breath before we get going, Luther. There you go, man.
Just to arrest an elderly, disabled man.
Knees, that's what I'm saying. You know,
Get some new knees.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I can't hardly.
Now, we got you, go. One,
hardly
two, three.
bend 'em.
Step at a time. There you go, go.
All right.
You got him? All right.
With its increasingly disproportionate methods, the American police force is at the center of heated controversy. Forces of order with military appearances, heavily armed. The U.S. discovered a new side to its police force during the Ferguson affair in August 2014. Riots broke out following the death of a young black man killed by a police officer. Demonstrators were met with armored vehicles and men in combat gear armed with assault rifles. The militarization worried the president at the time, Barack Obama.
You know, we've seen how militarized gear can sometimes give people a feeling like there's an occupying force as opposed to a force that's part of the community that's protecting them and serving them.
But this overarmed police force did not come about by chance. For years, all over the country, police stations have been accumulating military material thanks to a program in the Pentagon which authorizes them to recuperate equipment the Army no longer wants for almost nothing.
A new Bell helicopter is about $3 million. $500 is what it cost us for this one.
Overarmed and more violent. In 2017 in the U.S., nearly 1,000 people were killed by police. Scaled to the population, that's 20 times more than in France. Often caught on camera, the violence of these blunders is available for all to see. How can these mistakes be explained? In the USA, the police are trained to overreact. And in some training sessions, they're even taught to kill.
A fleeing felon that just committed a murder before your eyes. You have not the right, you have the responsibility to shoot that man in the back.
An investigation into a police force facing increasing criticism. South Lake Tahoe, 20,000 inhabitants, in the San Francisco region of California. The town attracts Californians who like to take advantage of the activities on offer on the immense lake. Here, we are far from the frenzy of America's huge cities. Crime rates are low, 20% below the national average. However, you might come across this 18-ton steel monster on the streets. This heavily armed truck is an MRAP, an American Army combat vehicle. In Iraq and in Afghanistan, it is used to transport troops safely. It is sufficiently equipped to withstand a mine. And from its gun turrets, the GIs can machine gun the enemy. The police in South Lake Tahoe got it from the Army and gave it a makeover. Agent Brandon Auxier is its appointed driver.
Operates like a normal commercial truck. So it has a transmission box, ignition, air brakes, lights, horn. The extra stuff is the police radio. We have a camera to the rear, the lights, the siren.
The MRAP has also been repainted in black to give it a less military appearance. As for the gun tower, it is no longer equipped with machine guns.
And what is it for? It's more ballistic protection. This way we could see out if there was somebody that was shooting at us.
The vehicle therefore permits Brandon and his colleagues to protect themselves when faced with an armed individual.
You feel safe during the operation? Yeah. Yeah, nobody can get to me.
One of the last times that the MRAP intervened was in this car park. Brandon and his colleagues used it to arrest a car thief armed with a gun.
The guy tried to drive away. He backed up, and we positioned us closer behind him and bumped him. And then he tried to go forward. His car got stuck, and he got out of the car and took off and tried to run.
The thief, injured during the operation, was finally overpowered and arrested. But the police only use the MRAP a few dozen times a year. Therefore, some inhabitants have some questions.
Walking down the street and seeing this tank come by.
Well, it's not a tank.
Okay, I thought, my God, what happened? So I'm still not, why were we chosen for this gift?
Because it's bulletproof.
Yeah?
And so if we encounter anybody armed with a gun, it keeps everybody safe.
But it's a pretty shocking
It is. It's
presence.
big. It's big, and that's one of the benefits of it, is it's such a presence that if we have a guy held up inside of a house and he doesn't want to come out, when we show up with that, it kind of scares him a little bit. The guy with the gun is more keen on coming out and surrendering to us because we have that, and it's so intimidating.
Well, if it's for intimidation, it works.
That's it. It's for intimidation and protection.
Okay, yeah, great. Well, thank you.
What do you think?
I understand the reason behind it now that you've explained it, but I still think it's overkill for Lake Tahoe.
In order to convince her, Brandon has an irrefutable argument.
That was free.
Well, that's also
yeah.
a good thing to know. I was
Exactly.
wondering, is that where my tax money is going to?
That was free. That was free.
Okay.
New, this vehicle is worth around 600,000 euros. So how did this little town get hold of it without paying a dollar? In the US, there is an astonishing protocol, Program 1033. It authorizes the premier army in the world to pass equipment on to the police when it is no longer needed. This surplus is stocked in giant depots. There are 100 of these throughout the country. Inside, there is everything. Microwaves, computers, and even exercise bikes. But also combat gear, glasses for night vision, assault rifles, and an armada of military vehicles. Since 1995, the date of the program's creation, $6 billion of material have been transferred to the police. Today, you can come across tanks in deepest America.
That's G.
or in the big cities, like here in the heart of Manhattan, one of the safest places in the United States. A little town of 10,000 inhabitants has even managed to get a hold of this tank with Caterpillar tread, which we see being used during a training exercise. All over the country, sheriffs are adopting a policy of zero tolerance, profiting from the generosity of Program 1033. This is the case in Florida, in Brevard County near Orlando. Sheriff Wayne Ivey rules with an iron fist.
All right, guys, we ready?
When it comes to tracking down low-level criminals, he is not lacking in imagination. He has invented a game inspired by the famous TV show Wheel of Fortune. Each week, he films a new episode to be broadcast on the internet.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sheriff Wayne Ivey of the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and you guessed it. It's that time of the week where we give this wheel a big old spin. Whoever it lands on, that's who we're going to ask our citizens to help us arrest this week. Now, you know how this works. We got 10 fugitives on our wheel. Whichever one it lands on is our fugitive of the week, but the other 9 are ready to go to jail, too, and we got room for them at the Brevard County Jail. Let's give the wheel a spin, see who this week's going to be.
Rather than large sums of money on the wheel, there are the faces of individuals wanted by the police. In France, such an appeal for denunciations would be inconceivable.
All right, this week it looks like we're looking for Andrew Philip Lane. Now, you know, if you know where Mr. Lane's at, you can call us by going to Crime Line at 1-800-423-TIPS. You can send us an email at wheeloffugitive@bcso.us, or you can send us a personal message on our Facebook page. Either way, Mr. Phillips, you know, or Mr. Lane, you know what you need to do is go turn yourself in. It's the man thing to do. Man up, go turn yourself in. Our team's waiting on you. They'll book you in. They'll get you to a nice hot cot and some nice meals out there. Well, all right, the meals aren't that great, but do the right thing, man up. As always, thank you for your incredible support of the Brevard County Sheriff's Office, and we'll see you next week on Wheel of Fugitive.
The individuals exhibited have only committed petty crimes, drug consumption, theft, or burglary. Showing their faces as if they were dangerous criminals doesn't pose any moral problems to the sheriff. Quite the opposite.
Did you see the ladies' night version we did of it?
Sorry? No.
Pull up ladies' night. It was all women on the wheel. Oh, wait, it gets better.
The sheriff, a fervent supporter of Donald Trump, is very proud of his videos. Each week, they are viewed 20,000 times on the internet and lead to the arrest of the majority of the people featured.
Is it not a bit too much?
I don't think it's too much at all. You know, the easy way not to be on this wheel is don't be a criminal in Brevard County, because if you're a criminal, we're coming after you. We're gonna try and get you off the street. We're gonna be as aggressive as we can in getting criminals off the street. Obviously, we're doing it the legal way and the right way and the professional way, but at the end of the day, our goal is to get criminals off the street.
And in order to arrest them, thanks to Program 1033, the sheriff has a formidable arsenal at his disposal. This arsenal is a flotilla of 5 helicopters ready for takeoff 24/7 to track fugitives. A luxury when you consider the price of these toys.
If you were to buy an aircraft now, it would probably be, a used one would probably be maybe $500,000 or $600,000. A new one, a new Bell helicopter, like a model like a 407, which is a little bit bigger than this one, about $3 million. So
And this one?
$500 is what it cost us for this one.
$500 just for the delivery. The helicopter itself was free. John Coppola, the head of the unit, is responsible for the day-to-day surveillance of these machines, because some of these helicopters, like this one here, have seen combat in war zones.
No guns on it anymore, you know, but you could see over here, it's been shot all through here during Vietnam War. Bullet hole. This is all this is all patches. It also went to Desert Storm in 1991.
These machines may not be young, but they are equipped with the latest cameras operated remotely from the cockpit. The helicopters make nearly 1,000 outings each year, and in 70% of cases in the pursuit of fugitives. For this type of mission, it's the ideal tool in a county 35 times the size of Paris.
As you can see from a helicopter, we're up at 500 feet right now. We get a beautiful view of the area. We're looking for a vehicle, searching for a car, a typical type of car. We can pick it out pretty easy from the air. So the helicopter basically what it's doing is it's your odds to being able to apprehend people and doing it a lot more safer.
Police officers on the ground call the pilots as soon as a suspect attempts to escape, and it gives rise to some spectacular chases. Like this one here, where a man is driving at breakneck speed in a stolen vehicle.
He's back on the highway?
Stand by. All right, he got off the exit.
All right, he got off on the exit, guys. He's probably going to end up going eastbound on 528.
The helicopter pilot masterminds the hunt. He gives live updates on the position of the car to his colleagues on the ground.
He's on 501. Still got him, Bern?
Still got him.
He's in the other lane now. He's in the incoming lane.
Despite all the risks this reckless driver takes, he is captured 15 minutes later. Nighttime, too. The fugitives' efforts are futile.
They're stopped. They're out on the shoulder. And the emergency lane, slow down unit coming right up behind you. They're running across the interstate.
Impossible to escape the thermal imaging camera,
They're running into the wooded area there where the
which can find them even in the dark. When the helicopter intervenes, the suspects are arrested nearly every time. Impressive machines for which the spare parts could cost a fortune, but once again, everything is free. John can simply order them from the Army site, where all the materials offered by Program 1033 are listed.
So it's not just aircraft parts. I mean, here's goggles. There's things that's showing you different things that are on there. There's everything on it.
They don't even have to go anywhere.
It's like going shopping on eBay.
To get hold of an item, he just has to fill out a simple online form.
If you're looking for a Humvee, so I have to write why I want it, and then I send it to them, and then it goes up through a chain of people, and then it'll send me back a notice saying you have the part. And then either I make arrangements for the shipping, or in some cases, they ship the part. It all depends.
It's pretty easy.
Very easy, yeah.
This free aerial flotilla is a blessing for Sheriff Ivey. Like all sheriffs, he is elected by his fellow citizens and spends his days meeting them here in a retirement home. Thanks to gifts from the 1033 program, he is able to apply his security policy without hiking up taxes.
He watches the money. He's good with a budget, you know, and all that. He watches the money. He doesn't spend, you know, he spends what needs to be done, and that's it, yeah.
So it doesn't matter who you are or what you do. If you committed a crime, he's going to get you. Yes, I like him very much. He got my vote.
Brevard County is one of 8,000 police forces out of a total of 18,000 countrywide to profit from American Army surplus. But Program 1033 is not the only way for the forces of law and order to arm themselves. Direction, California. San Francisco Bay, the birthplace of hippies and peaceful activism. For the last 10 years, however, it has also been the site of an annual competition between elite police officers. Its name, Urban Shield. Contrary to appearances, these men are not military, but in fact police. Urban Shield welcomes 30 representatives from SWAT teams who will compete for 48 hours non-stop. Day and night, they must resolve various catastrophic scenarios.
Hey, slow. Stop, hold what you got.
Imprisonment in a house.
Hey, we're moving. Exfil, we're out of here.
Shooting in a nightclub. Here, they must end a hostage situation which has gone wrong.
Copy, that's a total of 4 down, 4 down.
Help me! They're shooting people!
A total of 30 exercises literally inspired by real events. Like the Nice attack, where a lorry drove into a crowd, here symbolized by mannequins and a soundtrack of screams of terror.
Hey, I need support up. It's awesome. Awesome. Best one we've gone through yet.
Parallel to the competition, in this hangar, arms dealers have set up their stand. Urban Shield is a business opportunity for them. They present their latest novelties to the 300 police officers attending the event. Like these multifunction hydraulic pliers, they can destroy doors, cut through bars, and even tear the doors off a car. This ball is equipped with several cameras to provide a 360-degree viewpoint. very useful for inspecting a room without taking any risks before going in. There are also, of course, lots of guns. Paradise for all these SWAT teams, including that of 29-year-old Justin, an Urban Shield veteran.
Good, how are you? What do we got here?
This dealer, who sells rifles for snipers, is able to tout his wares because, unlike in France, here, each police station is free to choose and purchase its own weapons.
And it locks in place.
Yeah, they want to sell you all this good stuff. It's cool. I mean, their equipment's phenomenal, but it's the money, man. A lot of this stuff's real expensive.
To purchase all this equipment, the American police have numerous sources of funding. Government grants, for starters. These bulletproof vests, for example, can be reimbursed up to 50%.
The armor's in this? Right now?
Yeah.
No kidding?
Yeah, 3A. Yeah.
That's cool.
The subsidies also apply to firearms.
I'm sorry, one more time? How much?
$14.60.
$14.60? That's nice.
There have been some agencies that have used grant money for the purchase of weapons before. And also narcotics.
Seizure money.
Asset seizure money.
Asset forfeiture?
Asset forfeiture money.
It's very common. We do it all the time.
Even their cash, if they have a whole box of cash, that gets converted back to the...
As long as we can prove in court later that that money was used for purposes of selling dope, essentially, it's ours. We take it from them because it's dirty money.
There is no precise data available regarding the money spent by the police on equipment, but the market adds up to billions of dollars every year. All this contributes to the overarming of the American police. Justin doesn't see any reason for controversy.
A lot of people fail to recognize or realize the danger that exists in the world. People don't understand, I don't know what it is, but they have a hard time seeing the evil that exists, even when you watch it on TV, man. They do whatever they can to take weapons away from us and to stop us from doing our job. And what that ultimately does is it makes us less safe. Cops are dying every day. Cops are getting shot, killed every single day. We need this stuff.
Contrary to Justin's claims, police deaths by firearms are not a daily occurrence, but 40 police officers were killed by bullets in 2017. And with more than 300 million firearms in circulation in the USA, they often feel in danger. Missouri, Kansas City, 500,000 inhabitants. With 149 murders last year, it's the 5th most dangerous city in the US. At the police station in the southern zone, it's briefing hour for Sergeant Sébastien Henriot's night team.
Traffic crime good enough to top.
Sébastien is French. He arrived in the US in 1995. At the time, he practiced an entirely different profession.
Moi, j'étais pâtissier. Ça commence par un P, pâtissier, policier. Ouais, pâte à briser, pistolet. On peut continuer comme ça.
Comment ça s'est passé?
Ils ont un programme où, si vous êtes citoyen, vous pouvez passer une nuit avec la police. Donc, j'ai passé une nuit avec la police.
Et ça s'est passé comment?
Bon, au début, j'étais choqué. Ce qui m'a choqué, c'est de voir comment les gens se traitent entre eux. Les tapages nocturnes, les gens qui se tapent dessus, les gens qui se tirent dessus, les gens qui...
La violence.
La violence.
What do you think about changing his job like this?
Well, that's not, I don't even think that's the strangest one that I've ever heard of. I mean, a lot of us come from different backgrounds.
Really? You?
I was a banker.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
In 2004, Sébastien decided to leave the kitchen and become a police officer. He discovered the new tools of his trade, which he carries with him every day during his routine patrols.
Bah déjà, je vais vous montrer ce qu'on a. On va commencer avec le taser X26. Donc, c'est une arme qui va décharger 50 000 volts et 0,1 ampères. Donc, c'est une arme très efficace. Par exemple, on a une drogue ici qui s'appelle le PCP. Et c'est une drogue qui vous rend super puissant. Et en général, ils ont très chaud et ils sont nus. Donc, vu qu'ils ne vont jamais nous écouter, et qu'en général, ils aiment bien se battre.
Ça permet de les arrêter.
Ça permet de les arrêter très rapidement. Alors après, Bah, si on va monter en gamme, je vais vous passer après le fusil à pompe qu'on a avec un beanbag. C'est un fusil à pompe avec des cartouches, des petites billes dedans. C'est-à-dire que ça nous permet d'appréhender un sujet qui va avoir un couteau. Au lieu de le tuer, on va le neutraliser avec ça. Ça ressemble à une cartouche normale, sauf que dedans c'est comme une toute petite chaussette avec des billes. Donc ça va faire un gros bleu. Et en général, ils vont lâcher leur couteau, ils vont arrêter immédiatement ce qu'ils font. Donc c'est en fin de compte un fusil à pompe qui est normal. La raison pour laquelle il est orange, c'est pour que nous, en moment de crise, on ne confonde pas avec le vrai fusil à pompe qu'on a aussi dans la voiture. Ça tue pas du tout.
As for the weapons capable of killing, they are just next to the driver.
Ensuite, on a le fusil à pompe qui est tout le temps chargé avec 4 cartouches.
Tout le temps chargé?
Il est tout le temps chargé. C'est la cartouche. Toutes les armes qu'on a sur nous sont toujours chargées. Mon pistolet est toujours chargé avec 16 balles dedans. Celui-là, il va en avoir 4. Et ensuite, le prochain... Le prochain arme qu'on va avoir, c'est ce qu'on appelle le R15, qui va contenir 28 balles. Ça va nous permettre de tirer à 50 mètres. Donc ça fait à peu près seulement 4 ou 5 ans qu'on peut les avoir. Avant, on ne les avait pas. Ce qui s'est passé, c'est qu'il y avait de plus en plus de ce qu'ils appellent AK-47, les Kalachnikov dans la rue. Donc en fin de compte, des fois, on arrivait dans des situations où on ne faisait pas le poids. Donc il a fallu qu'on s'adapte à la situation.
C'est pas étonnant de se retrouver avec un tel fusil dans les mains?
Bah, au début, ça choque, mais avant, on s'y habitue.
Vraiment?
Ouais, on s'habitue. Ouais. Disons que moi, quand je suis rentré à la police, j'avais jamais touché une arme à feu. Je suis né en France, j'ai grandi en France. C'est juste que j'ai appris à m'en servir.
Et maintenant? Ça fait partie de votre quotidien?
Maintenant, ça fait partie de notre quotidien. Disons que c'est mon outil de travail. J'ai échangé un fouet contre un R15. C'est la différence.
A staggering arsenal in comparison to that of a French police officer, who is usually only equipped with a pistol and a truncheon.
Sergeant Henry, it's 5153-12-817, camp check, vehicle inspection completed.
Sebastien is on patrol from 4 p.m. until 1 in the morning, weapon always in hand.
Ça vous est déjà arrivé, sur une intervention, mais même banale, vous avez été obligé de sortir votre arme,
Ouais, ça arrive souvent. L'exemple le plus frappant que j'ai eu, c'est quand j'ai arrêté cette personne parce qu'il avait grillé un stop. En fin de compte, il venait d'Afrique. Et quand je lui ai demandé pour son permis de conduire, ce que je ne savais pas, c'est qu'il s'est directement précipité dans sa chaussette. Alors pour nous, dans la chaussette, les gens portent une autre arme. Donc évidemment, j'ai sorti mon arme et il a eu peur. Et tout ça pour me dire que dans son pays, c'est là qu'ils gardent en effet leur argent et leurs pièces d'identité. Donc il n'était pas du tout armé, mais en effet, il gardait tous ses papiers dans sa chaussette. Mais de la façon dont il l'a fait assez précipitamment. Moi, je pensais qu'il était armé.
Donc, vous avez pointé votre arme?
Oui, j'ai pointé mon arme, ouais. Ça aurait pu très mal tourner en fin de compte, ouais. Pour tout le monde, parce qu'en fin de compte, j'aurais pu tirer sur une personne qui n'était pas du tout armée.
Policing in the U.S. is a career choice which can test the nerves to their limits. All the more so because, unlike in France, they often patrol alone in their vehicles. But this evening, for once Sebastien is lucky, a colleague will accompany him for the last part of his shift. Sebastien gets nervous once night falls.
Sebastian gets scared when it gets dark. Yeah, Frenchie.
The two men are on the lookout for the slightest suspicious behavior. And at 10 p.m., their targets are the occasional cars driving around the area.
On vérifie la plaque d'immatriculation.
Il y a un truc de suspect?
Tout le secteur est suspect. C'est une zone assez chaude en fin de compte. Vente de drogue, vente d'armes. Nothing.
Sebastien has just spotted a car with a temporary license plate.
See if it expires or not.
He launches pursuit of the driver, who stops immediately. At first glance, nothing in this inspection seems dangerous. However, the two police officers remain permanently on their guard.
Hey, Sergeant Henry at KCPD. Resident pour Lieu, your temp tag expire in August 2017. Whose car is this?
It's my girlfriend's.
Okay, do you have license insurance, please? Okay, may I see it, please?
While Sebastien talks to the driver, his colleague maintains an overview of the scene.
What do you do for a living?
I work at
The danger can come from the surrounding areas as much as from the vehicle itself. For the duration of the inspection, the two police officers remain extremely vigilant.
Just watching him, just in case, he were to produce a weapon or something like that. Since I'm out of the vehicle, I can respond to it instead of being in the vehicle.
What, you use a weapon?
No, just in case.
Sebastien and his colleague always keep in mind that 1 in 4 Americans carries a weapon.
Have a good night. Yeah.
Vous, ça vous est déjà arrivé que des gens soient armés?
Oui, bien sûr.
Dans la voiture?
Oui.
Qu'est-ce que vous faites à ce moment-là?
Dans ces cas-là, quand on est deux, donc je vais le dire à mon coéquipier qu'il y a une arme. Mais il faut faire attention aussi parce qu'avoir une arme, c'est pas illégal. Donc avoir une arme qui est dans la voiture et qui est au milieu de la voiture, enfin dans la console, c'est délicat. Donc est-ce que je sors la personne de la voiture ou est-ce que je regarde ses mains? Donc ça va dépendre de la situation en fin de compte.
Donc c'est à vous de gérer cette situation?
C'est à nous de gérer cette situation. Parce que le problème, c'est si je commence à sortir la personne de la voiture et de l'arrêter, de prendre son arme, ça peut être une violation de ce qu'ils appellent une infraction sur le 4e amendement de la Constitution de cette personne-là.
This constitutional right, which allows Americans to carry weapons, complicates the police officers' job considerably. They end up risking their lives on simple traffic controls. In this case, the tension suddenly rises. The two teammates are on their guard, quite simply because there are several people in the car.
Whose car is this?
Reason enough for Sebastien's colleague to get out his gun.
All right, have a good night.
The gesture would be unthinkable in France.
Ton collègue a sorti son arme.
Parce que c'est une voiture occupée, il y avait 4 personnes dedans. Donc si par exemple le passager commence à produire une arme ou faire quelque chose, au moins il est prêt.
Et donc il fallait qu'il sorte son arme.
Ouais, c'est courant, c'est très courant.
C'est très courant?
Ah oui. Il y a tellement d'armes dans ce pays, toute personne est armée, jusqu'à preuve du contraire.
On some nights, Sebastien will have to get out his gun on several occasions, but he assures us that in his 13-year career, he has never had to open fire. Other police officers have not been so cool-headed and have made terrible errors. Near Minneapolis, Minnesota, a traffic inspection got out of hand. The victim was John's childhood friend.
I miss my friend, y'all. I really do miss my friend.
His name was Philando Castile. He was 32 years old. He worked in a school canteen. His brutal death shocked all of America. On July 6, 2016, his girlfriend, who was sitting next to him, filmed his agony, broadcasting direct to social media.
Stay with me. We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back. And the police he's covered. He killed my boyfriend. He's licensed, he's carried.
The police officer, finger still on the trigger, has just killed Philando.
Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead.
I saw it on Facebook Live, but I didn't pay attention to the post on Facebook. I just scrolled right past it.
Why you didn't pay attention?
Because it happens so often here. I just like, oh well, they did something else to somebody. So it really I didn't want to see it. But when I got up and I was getting ready for work in the morning, I turned the news on. I saw the name Philando Castile came across the bottom of the screen. Then I screamed like, oh my God, they killed Phil. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe they killed Phil. Just because I know who Philando is. That cop car followed Philando to all the way up here. As soon as he turns his lights on, Philando pulls over. Right here. And he stops right at this spot, exact spot right here.
The events of the inspection were filmed from a camera inside the police car. Philando comes back from the supermarket with his girlfriend and her daughter at his side.
Yes, sir. Good. How are you? Good. Reason I pulled you over, your brake lights are out. You have your license and insurance?
At first, the traffic stop is completely normal. But as soon as Philando indicates that he is carrying a weapon, the situation completely degenerates.
Sir, I have to tell you, I do have a firearm on me. Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out. Don't pull it out.
The police officer fires 7 times. The shots are fired just a few centimeters from the 4-year-old girl sitting in the back. She is removed by a colleague who has come to assist. Why did this agent react so suddenly and with such violence? Had Philando behaved in a threatening manner? This is the question the Bureau of Internal Affairs asks as soon as they begin their investigation that very evening as they interrogate his girlfriend. She affirms that Philando never had any intention of getting out his weapon.
His registration and his license, which is in his back pocket. And in the process of him reaching for his license and registration, he's telling the officer, I do have a firearm on me. He wasn't able to get to his license and registration. And the officer already with his gun blazing, cocked and everything, don't move, and took off. And that was it.
So the police officer had no valid reason to open fire. On the very same evening, the shooter, 28-year-old Geronimo Yanez, also gave his version of events to investigators.
He turned his shoulder, kept his left hand on the steering wheel, and then canted his upper body and blocked my view of his right hand. A million things started going through my head, and I thought I was gonna die, and I was scared because I didn't know what he was gonna do. He just had something in his hands, and the first words he said to me were, some of the first words is they had a gun. And I thought he was reaching for the gun. I thought he had the gun in his hand, in his right hand. And I shot. I shot him. I kept watching him. I just remember that.
Seeing anything in his hand?
I don't remember seeing anything in his hand.
Okay.
Geronimo Yanez was put on trial for involuntary homicide. His trial began a year later. In court, his lawyers affirmed that he believed he'd seen a firearm in Philando Castile's hand. This argument was enough to acquit their client, because in the U.S., the law permits police officers to shoot as soon as they feel threatened.
What he saw at that second, and what he saw was this man carrying and having a gun in his hand ready to shoot him. And under the circumstances and under our law, he was entitled to shoot back.
If they have a reasonable belief that there is a gun, they are entitled to shoot. And it happens all the time. Mistakes are made that there is not a gun. It might be a cell phone. It might be a pair of keys. It might be anything that resembles a gun or a weapon.
But you shoot how many? 7 times?
7 times.
They're trained to shoot. Okay, once you, the officer's trained to remove the threat. And there is no impediment or no training that they receive that requires them to shoot once or twice. They can shoot 7, and I've had cases where officers have shot more.
So, do the police have a license to kill at their disposal? In any case, because of this law, very few are convicted in the courts. But how are these forces for order, more and more heavily armed, being trained? Exactly what rules are taught? In Kansas City, the police academy accepts candidates straight from high school, but the majority have a university degree. First surprise, their training is much shorter than in France, 7 months here in comparison to 12 for a French police officer. During their training, they have theory lessons where they are taught the rules and rights, but the most important part of their training is the practical part.
Sir, stop! Stop!
Okay.
Lift your hands. What are you doing, sir?
My keys,
Sir,
I locked my car.
against
I locked my keys in my
Sir,
car.
get your hands up.
I locked my keys in
Hands
my car.
up.
That's all I did.
It's not always easy for young police officers of just 20 years of age to impose their authority.
That guy has to get on the ground. Okay, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
This is a very dangerous situation, potentially. He has got to go on the ground. And if he won't go on the ground based on you telling him to go on the ground, then you're gonna put him on the ground.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
You got something for that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. King, what were you doing?
I was
mean,
covering, sir.
I mean, it didn't really look like you wanted to be involved with this call at all. You know, very hesitant to engage him once he stopped. I mean, you got to take it up a notch.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you're the police, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you're not safe, if you're hurt or injured or worse, you can't help anybody. So you have to make the scene safe. And controlling subjects is how you do that.
At the heart of the instruction is the idea that every situation is potentially dangerous.
Oh, let them out first.
In the following role play, the two pupils have to help a man who can't get his drunk friend out of his apartment.
Come and get this guy out of my apartment, please. He's drunk, he's acting like an idiot. Look at him. He's sitting on my couch, he's not even supposed to be here.
In the scenario, the individual refuses to obey the police.
He invited me to come over here, watch the game, drink beer, eat some food, and now he's all mad that I'm...
The point of the exercise is to show that a situation can quickly turn nasty.
A complaint. Leave it there, sir. Leave it on the ground, sir.
Hang out, why don't you just get me another beer?
Okay.
Leave it there, sir.
I'm gonna take him out.
No, sir, stay right there.
Come take me out, Jerry. Come take me out.
Sir, sit right there. Sir.
I'll leave. I'm not
Sir.
even
Sir.
Get off me, man.
Sir, stay right there. Sir.
They must overpower this man who is resisting them.
I get locked. Get down, get down, get down.
But most importantly, they must find the arsenal of weapons he has stashed about his person.
Got any weapons or anything on me that can hurt me?
You ain't got shit.
Partner, we got a gun. Partner, knife.
Next week, the pupils will start learning how to fire a gun. After 7 months of training, they'll be let loose on the ground, accompanied by an instructor. Then, for the rest of their career, they will practice firing at least twice a year. They also train with this video simulation,
Shot being fired.
where they learn to react quickly in the face of danger.
Come on over here. What's in your hand, man?
Look,
Drop the
partner,
needle.
I'm taking her home.
Man,
Drop the needle right now. Drop the needle.
I got the female. I got
Shots
the female.
fired. Attack 46. Shots fired. I can't see you.
Ma'am, let me see your hands. Ma'am.
I can't see the
Put your
gun.
hands up. I need to see you. Drop the needle.
The #1 rule as an officer is to go home at the end of your shift. All right, so do whatever you have to do to make it home to your family at the end of the shift.
Working on the assumption that the danger is ever present, some do not hesitate to push police to adopt extreme measures. Here is a promotional video for a private training called Bulletproof. The instructors, Dave Grossman, a former lieutenant colonel in the Army, and Jim Glennon, a retired cop. The students are police officers whose stations are financing this elite training. And what they learn in these courses all over the USA is edifying stuff.
Once you've made the decision to take a human life, you're a transformed creature, you're a predator. What does a predator do? They kill. Only a killer can hunt a killer. Are you emotionally, spiritually, physically prepared to take a human life?
In these courses, Dave Grossman, who is also a consultant for the American Army, incites the police officers to act as killers. He even preaches vigilante justice.
A fleeing felon that just committed a murder before your eyes. You have not the right, you have the responsibility to shoot that man in the back. You will shoot him in the back, and you will keep on shooting until it drops.
Although the content clearly incites violence, these training sessions haven't caused any concern for years, until a regular citizen attends one of them. Bill, a 43-year-old electrician, has infiltrated one of them posing as a student of criminology. He discovers that the police are taught to pull the trigger without thinking.
Hesitation was repeatedly brought up as a problem, as an issue that created unnecessary danger to officers. This man said many movements can look like the movement to draw to grab a gun. So If I went to get my wallet, it also looks like I'm going for a gun. And the message is, you don't have to wait. You don't have time to know if this is a wallet or a gun. If you wait to find out, you might die. And you don't have to die. The law lets you shoot.
Bill was not surprised to find amongst the participants the name Jeronimo Yanez, the police officer who would go on to kill Philando Castile 2 years later.
It's sad. There's a victim who was a good man who worked for the school system in my area. There's an officer who was victimized by the training he went to.
Following this scandal, the instructors who refused to respond to our questions suspended some of their seminars. Training which promotes extreme violence. Police officers using cowboy methods more and more heavily armed. Today, the motto of some police stations, to protect with courage, serve with compassion, rings rather false. Mistakes are made every week in the USA. And in some extreme cases, calling the police can even become dangerous. On July 15, 2017, the town of Minneapolis became theater to one of these surreal blunders. Justine Damond, a yoga teacher, was shot by a patrolling officer, although she herself had called for help. The story has shocked the residents of Minneapolis. With the accumulation of violations, some regularly take to the streets to show their anger.
Violence in America, none of it should be justified. No violence. White on white, black on black, police on anybody. No violence should be justified. Let's unite and make peace, not war.
So, to stop this violence, activists think they have found the solution. His video equipment always to hand, 33-year-old Andrew Henderson is part of Copwatch, a vast movement to monitor the police which began in 1990 and is growing in magnitude. To tackle misconduct, the Copwatchers film and broadcast interventions on the internet.
3 police cars stopped a homeless black male for having an open beer, which is ridiculous. I mean, that is not a good allocation of services or funds.
Can I get your badge number real quick?
For 8 years now, Andrew has been publicizing the names of officers who break the rules.
I think that there's a lot of military culture in police departments nowadays that we didn't see back, 20, 30 years ago. I think there's a lot of militarized training that confuses police officers or tends to lead them down the path to believe that they have to be violent to enforce laws. There's this lie out there that every day could be a police officer's last. More police officers die from car accidents not going on to the scene of a crime or not in the pursuit of a suspect than they do from being shot or stabbed by a bad guy, by a suspect or whatever. But they get this training that makes them believe falsely that they're in danger with every traffic stop they make, that people are out to get them constantly, which is completely untrue.
In Minneapolis, it's especially at night, when the party people leave the bars, that police presence intensifies. For Andrew, as well, it's the best moment to play Copwatch. And as a cheeky gesture to the authorities, he tracks their mistakes in an old police car bought secondhand. He doesn't have to look for long. After a few minutes, he comes across a police inspection.
Trying to park over here. Ready? Make sure everything is going smoothly, that the situation is being handled properly. So right now we got squad 112. It's 11:05 p.m., September 21st.
The officers shine their lights at him immediately.
And what they do with this is they try to block your view. By shining that light on you, it's to hide their identity. So I can't see them. And they'll often do this, where they don't want to be seen, so they're shielding themselves from the view of the camera.
If the situation degenerates, Andrew has everything set up. He launches a second recording on his phone, which is automatically stored on a server.
So no matter what, even if they take both my cameras, I'll still have a backup copy of this as soon as I get home.
But for now, the situation remains calm. There is no one in the car. The only development is the arrival of a recovery truck, then a police officer interested in the camera.
Just exercising our First Amendment right.
I'm absolutely sorry, I can't.
We're just exercising our First Amendment right just to film.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just so we're clear,
Yep.
you got to be in public space, so you can't be on private property
Yep.
unless you're working for
Yeah,
us.
I'd step on the sidewalk.
Andrew politely obeys and moves a few meters to the exterior of the parking lot, but he has made the mistake of parking his car there. The police he has filmed are going to spot it. And they will take advantage of it to teach him a lesson when he tries to get it back.
This lot is strictly no trespassing. Get back on the sidewalk.
I'm getting my car.
You cannot get your vehicle. This lot is strictly no trespass zone.
I want to get my car back.
Please step back on the sidewalk.
I want my car back.
Andrew is caught in a trap. He calls for backup from a friend who is a lawyer in charge of an association against police violence. She arrives 5 minutes later, and it is her turn to try and go to negotiate.
Please do not come into this parking lot. Get back on the sidewalk or you will be tagged.
What's the reason? Okay, I'm gonna call 911 and be done with this shit.
Actually, I'd like to speak to Minneapolis Police 911. Thank you.
The lawyer calls someone in charge and finally manages to unblock the situation. A few minutes later, one of the officers comes to meet them.
Whose vehicle does that belong to?
That's mine.
He allows them to take back the car. Although this time everything finished well for Andrew, the trust that Americans have in the forces of law and order is not about to rise. Only 13 police officers are currently being prosecuted by the courts, despite 1,000 people who were killed by the police last year.